I'm Rachel Edidin.
And I'm Miles Stokes.
And we are the hosts of Rachel and Miles Explain the X-Men, a weekly podcast where we walk listeners through the ins, outs, and retcons of our favorite superhero soap opera.
We're also the hosts of Rachel and Miles Review the X-Men,
which you're watching right now,
where we talk about the X-books that come out every week.
This week, that's the week of January 28th, 2015?
2015, yeah.
I keep saying 2014.
A lot of people do.
All right, well, let's dive in.
We'll start off with the new sexy. That is Uncanny Avengers Volume 2, Number 1.
Is it in fact sexy?
Kind of. Anyway, it's by Rick Remender with art by Daniel Acuna. So this is the second run with this title that we've seen by the same writer, Rick Remender. The last one ended as it basically led straight into Axis. This one, it's the same basic premise, which is a squad of Avengers, some of whom are more Avengers-related and some of whom are more X-Men-related. This one, honestly, I would really hesitate to call an X-book at all. We went back and forth on whether we were going to review it, whether we were going to include it, but we figured Secret Wars is almost here, and who knows what's going to happen to the Marvel Universe after that. Might as well throw it in. And actually, it's a really good issue. I really enjoyed it.
It's a fun issue. Plot-wise, it's all about Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch's true parentage, which I honestly have a lot of trouble bringing myself to care about. This is how many sets of parents have they gone through at this point?
Well, we were their parents that one time.
No.
Oh, implanted memory, alternate universe,
No.
who knows?
No.
But yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I would be surprised if the revelation that Magneto's not their father in Axis really would matter that much to many people. I mean, yes, it's kind of a big deal, but a big deal that defines your life and has you go into like alternate dimensions and worlds to figure out what's going on? Maybe not.
Yeah, I can think of at least 3 off the top of my head. So there's Magneto, there's, what's his name, Maximoff, there's the Whizzer.
The Whizzer.
The Whizzer, actual character.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's been at least one other, so it's like, you'd think they'd be used to this by now. They'd be like, yeah, whatever, it'll just reset eventually when the movie rights work out.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so this is a good issue. It has an interesting cast. I mean, we're looking at Sabretooth, Rogue, Pietro and Wanda, of course, Dr. Voodoo, the new Captain America, and the Vision.
We should specify that the Sabretooth in this is inverted Sabretooth, who is now sort of chaotic good.
Something like that. And what this issue does, I think very cleverly for a first issue, is it cuts the narration from one to the next to the next to the next, each with their own sort of color-coded narration boxes. And that really works for me. Remender has the voices of most of the characters down relatively well. I actually like his Sabretooth a lot better than any inverted Sabretooth I've read so far. And yeah, I find myself really invested, and also, since it starts very much in medias res, invested in what the hell is going on.
Yeah, it's a shaky hook, but the resultant comic is actually pretty fun.
Yeah, so a cautious and optimistic yes on this one, I would say. We'll see what happens once the world blows up.
Next up, we have Uncanny X-Men number 30. This is written by Brian Michael Bendis, drawn by Chris Bachalo, inked by half of the known universe, and colored by Chris Bachalo and Antonio Favela. And, okay, here's the thing. If you've been following this series, you know that we are at a very plot-intensive point, where every issue is all twisty and full of major reveals and major things that we are going to do our best not to spoil here, but that's going to mean that we can't talk very much about what actually happens. What I will say is this. It's very cool, it's a very interesting development, and I seriously doubt that any of it is going to stick for more than an issue or two.
Yeah, when a book does things this drastic, it's going to be a giant event if it's going to last for more than a couple months. So I would agree. That being said, it's handled very well. This feels like a book with stakes right now, and it's so rare in the elastic continuity Marvel Universe that that's ever the case, and I love that.
Yeah, and whether the stakes end up being, characters living or dying, they are high story stakes. And it's nice seeing a writer taking the fact, taking the degree of power that you're playing with when you're writing a main X title and really, really running with it. Really using the characters and their powers and the universe, kind of stretching what they can do and the directions they can go.
All right, let's jump to Wolverines number 4. This is written by Ray Fox with art by Ariella Cristantina and colors by Sonia Obak. And so we really liked the first 2 issues, weren't too big on the third. Unfortunately, the 4th is more in that second category for me.
I was promised a heist, and there has still been no heist, and I am having a lot of trouble continuing to care about this series with its dearth of heist.
There is some heist preparation, at least, but this issue, I don't know, it feels rushed, which, I mean, it's a weekly book, so I suspect that's why. It cuts back and forth between the 10 main characters, or 11, or however many they're up to at this point.
50.
and then Sinister at his base. And there is a cool thing where the colorist has sort of different color schemes for each location, which helps you follow it a little bit. But I still found this issue to be really scattered. I had a lot of trouble. I kept having to go back and reread pages so I could figure out what was going on. I'm still not entirely clear on whether or not there was a second Sabretooth mysteriously there. So there's some good stuff in this book. I really wish it hadn't been weekly. I think at this point I feel confident in saying that seems like a mistake. That being said, if the heist does occur, I think it's going to win back a lot of goodwill from both of us.
Only if it's done well. The thing about a heist is that you have to plan it. It requires precision. What I've seen so far of this series doesn't give me a lot of faith that we're going to get that.
Well, I will say at the very least, when Sinister realizes that he's about to get attempt heisted, he does at one point send an agent into the future as part of his contingencies. And time travel defenses, I got a soft spot for those. What can I say?
I want leverage montages.
Well, there is that.
Next up, we have Spider-Man and the X-Men #2. This is written by Elliot Kalin. If you know how that's pronounced, drop us a line and we will fix it next time. Drawn by Marco Fila and colored by Ian Herring. And man, it is delightful. I spent the last run of Wolverine and the X-Men really missing the first one, Jason Aaron's, and this reminds me of everything I loved about that. It's got a ton of heart. It's really funny. It's really fun. It's a great school hijinks adventure.
It is. I mean, I will say that it does feel less substantive than Jason Aaron's Wolverine and the X-Men run did.
Miles. People punch dinosaurs.
It's true.
People punch pterosaurs. There's not a lot I ask of comics. And a pterosaur getting punched in the neck, like on a semi-regular basis, is pretty much, it's what I need to stay happy.
That's actually quite reasonable.
Yeah.
Good point.
Pterosaurs are dicks. Anyway, you should be reading this comic because it's a huge amount of fun. Spider-Man is a great addition to the team. It's a really good lineup of kids. The art's terrific, the writing's great, and it's early enough in the series that you won't have a lot of catching up to do.
Our last book is Amazing X-Men #16, written by Christopher Yost, with art by Jorge Fornes and colors by Rochelle Rosenberg. This is the second issue in the Juggernaut arc that the book is doing right now, and we really, really like the last one. This one is good also, but not as good, and part of that's because it's doing a lot of setup. It's basically setting up all of the antagonists who are also showing up to go after the Gem of Cyttorak. But even so, we have a lot of what made the last issue so good. We have a lot of great characterization, really well-written dialogue, a lot of which is really funny. Iceman has awesome lines. Rockslide has awesome lines. A lot of good stuff there.
Amazing X-Men is basically the snark and punching title right now. If that's what you're after, you'll love it. If it's not, you won't.
That being said, it also does have a fair bit of melodrama. I mean, there's a lot of good Colossus stuff in this issue as well. A lot of examinations of why he's in the dark place he's in, even aside from the horrible events that have occurred in the last while for him. So,
like his entire life?
Well, the 70s were all right for him.
No, not really.
He punched that tractor that one time. That worked well.
Yeah, but then he destroyed a tractor on the Ustorjinsky Collective, and he got stuck going to the United States and joining a superhero team, and things just went steadily downhill from there.
I guess it has been kind of rough for Piotr, it's true.
It's hard to be Colossus.
It is. Anyway, though, it's a good issue of a good book. I think we definitely continue to recommend this book. It's been, at the worst, good since it started, and you could say a lot worse than that about a comic. So there you go. Rachel, what's our issue of the week?
Oh, our issue of the week is unquestionably Uncanny X-Men #30. Don't jump in with this unless you've been following the series, but if you've been looking for an excuse to catch up, you've got it right here. Mm-hmm. What's our panel of the week?
Our panel of the week is actually from the last book we reviewed, this week's Amazing X-Men. It's a 2-page spread where the team fights the Guardian of Cyttorak, and I really love the way that the visuals guide your eye from the top left back up to the top right.
Actually, you know what? Let's put that panel up with a diagram showing how deftly this does it, because, man, this is so hard to do. With spreads, and especially with fight scene spreads, it's easy for it to look like one still image. That this one maintains that sequential feel and maintains pacing is really impressive.
And I especially like how everything's very dense at first, and then there's the big jump at the end that guides your eye from Nightcrawler's teleportation origin to where he ends up. It really gets that sense of immediacy.
Great splash and great storytelling.
Mm-hmm. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching.
If you like what you've seen here, please check out our podcast, Rachel and Miles Explain the X-Men. New episodes go up every Sunday at rachelandmiles.com and on iTunes and Stitcher. What do we have for them this week, Miles?
So this week I'm really excited about the episode we're doing. We're going to be covering the Firestar miniseries from 1985 that was the character's big introduction after a brief first appearance, and also talking a little bit about Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, a cartoon that I grew up on and love, despite the reasons one might not love it. Good stuff.
These videos, the podcast, and everything else at rachelandmiles.com are brought to you courtesy of our awesome Patreon subscribers. You guys are amazing. If you want to join their ranks, you can do that at the link below.
So until next time, take care, enjoy X-Men, and we will see you later. Spider.
Do you ever think about your name? Do you ever think about the word spider? Do you ever think about millions of spiders coming out of the word spider?
Spider's not even a word. Spider.